The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Shanaz Carroll here on behalf of the NMTF. We're welcome to the Go Trade webinar this afternoon. We are still expecting about another dozen people to sign in. So although we're already just gone 5 past, if we give another couple of minutes and see if anybody else is able to sign in. Now, you should be able to, if you're on a laptop, to type in questions on your screen, and then they'll come up for us and we should be able to see exactly who is asking questions. So I am also missing my presenter, I think, because he's not in my list of people, but hopefully I'll get him back in a second. So if we wait just a couple of other minutes and then we'll see if anybody else signs in. So I'm back. For those of you who didn't hear, my name is Shanaz Carroll. I work with the NMTF as the project manager on the Go Trade project. Hopefully you'll be able to see the screen in front of you if you're on a laptop, but just in case we have people that are dialing in on the phone, there's just a small screen which tells you what Go Trade means. It's the growth of the visitor economy through traditional markets, employment and skills. And somehow people manage to get Go Trade out of that, hence why the TRAD is in capital letters. The project has been running since 2017 and will be running through till the end of March 2021. And it's all about supporting markets and market traders to grow in town centres and the vicinity of high streets. NMTF is one partner in a 16 partnership, and that includes areas in England, predominantly southern England, although Great Yarmouth is also included, and a number of towns in northern France. So, as I said, it's about focusing on supporting markets to grow and prosper. And some of the things that we're delivering over the life of the project is training opportunities, of which this is one. And we also run a digital training module as well. Both this, the presentation and marketing module, and the digital training have both been trialled in Gravesham, in Gravesend Market, and also Basildon. They were delivered face to face and were delivered over 2 sessions, both lasting an hour and a half. Other things that we're delivering is a quality assurance scheme, and that's of markets and traders, and that's really to give customers confidence that they're able to buy quality goods and get quality customer service and all those related things from markets as part of the partnership. And I did say that there's 16 partners working on this, but that doesn't mean that those locations outside of those partner areas aren't able to join. So if anybody is interested in joining the project, please do. And get in touch with the NMTF via projects@nmtf.co.uk, and one of the team will get back to you. Another thing that we're also delivering is trying to encourage tourist opportunities, and that's in really encouraging people to visit markets as part of their trip to another location. So if they're going to Gravesham for one reason or another, or to Great Yarmouth, we're producing itineraries that encourage people and tell them about what's happening on the market as well. So there are opportunities there. There's a number of other things. So we send out newsletters, we attend tourist shows to tell people about the opportunities through markets. But if you want to find out more, there is a dedicated project website, which is gotrade-markets.eu. The project is funded by the European Union through the European Regional Development Fund with a cross-channel programme. And for those of you that are wondering, in case the project stops now because we're at the end of, or rather we're facing Brexit, we have been guaranteed that it will continue for the lifetime of the intended programme. And as I said, that is till the end of March 2021. So hopefully now we can actually start the session, and I can hand over to Mike Evans, who is a director with the Retail Group. Mike has actually developed this training on behalf of the Go Trade project and has delivered both the sessions in Basildon and also Gravesend. So we've had very good feedback for that so far. So we're providing this as an online webinar, and we will take the recording afterwards for those of you that want to revisit it and have another look at it. That will be passed over to NMTF, and it will also be on the Go Trade website, which, as I said, is gotrade-markets.eu. Okay, that's it from me. I will hand over to Mike now, and he will take you through the presentation.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, Mike.
Can you hear me, Shanaz?
I can hear you, definitely.
Good. If you can hear me, then let's assume that everybody else can hear me as well.
Perfect.
I'll just to recap. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for the intro, Shanaz. This session that we want to go through now really is just a summary of the two training sessions that were given as part of the Go Trade. It's really looking at effective presentation, effective product presentation, use of space, customer service, and marketing for market traders and small businesses. Sessions reach about 1.5 to 2 hours long. Lots of interaction, using lots of pictures. But in light of the technology, what we're trying to do is just give everybody a flavour of what's contained. And then if you want to access further information, it can be accessed via the website, or indeed you can actually go to NMTF's own website and start and use NMTF 400 and NMTF First, which contain further information on how to help you improve your business. So as we said, there's just a few particular topics. Really understand, just taking a view back, as what does the customer expect? How can you use the selling space that you have? How do you create impact? How do you make your product stand out? What constitutes great customer service and how do you deliver it? How do we use and implement promotions at the stall? And also how do we use signage to help us generate additional sales? Making it easy for the customer to buy from you. It's a pretty simple mission and often forgotten by not only market traders, but by lots of businesses. Keywords there is easy, customer, and buy. The more you can make it easy for your customers, the more they'll buy, and we'll come back to this time and time again in terms of what actually constitutes making it easy in some detail. One of my favorite tricks when doing any sort of training is to just get people to move away from thinking about their own stall and their own business at the outset. And one of the things that we do in each of the sessions is we start to say, okay, well, let's just think about, what is it that other businesses on the high street do to make it easy for customers? What are they doing to make the customer experience good? And what do they do that you can learn the lessons from? And really, it is about learning those lessons that other people are doing and using those lessons and applying them to your own business. So, there are no wrong and right answers here. It's an easy one to think about. What are the shops that you actually go to? And by the way, when we say shops, I mean, you can think about everything from filling up your car with petrol through to going to buy a cup of coffee, through to ordering some food in a restaurant, going to the cinema, the bowling alley, whatever it is, any sort of customer-facing business. What is it that those businesses are doing to offer a good experience to their customers? What is it that, why do they get people to go back? And the simple thing here is take some time. We're not able to actually have this as a sort of a conversation, but if you just take some time to think about which three businesses are the ones that you use the most, and then why is it that you go back? What are the reasons that make you go back? And part of that will be necessity, some of that will be need, and some of those will be that you choose to go back to those particular businesses for a particular reason. Now, making it easy is far more than just having staff that will talk to you. It's far more than having a clean environment. It's far more than making sure that you've got the lights on and people can actually get in and use the space. But broadly under that broad heading of making it easy, it's often some of the real basics. They've got products that you want to buy. Those businesses will make it easy for you to find those products, easy for you to see them. They'll make it easy for you to self-select. They'll give you a trolley to put your goods in. They'll make payment easy. They'll pack the merchandise. They'll deliver it for you. But typically, these will be businesses where they are providing good product knowledge in some way, shape, or form. Again, it won't be just about a member of staff to talk to you. It will be the whole environment of a store. And increasingly, of course, it's actually fewer and fewer members of staff, which comes back to one of the advantages of being a trader, is that you have a great opportunity to speak to your customers on a regular basis. In some instances, the service will be very quick, very efficient, very friendly, and some of it will just be more involved, more taking time. But the key thing is that this simple phrase about making it easy has a lot of things wrapped up into it. And we often talk about there are two ways to increase retail sales. You either make it easy for existing customers to buy more from you, or you make it easy for new people to buy from you. So there's two ways of growing your own turnover. Moving on from the simple broad brush mission about making it easy, and I do ask every trader take a step back and think about how easy is it for your customers to buy from you. There will be a number of expenses that you incur when running your business. One of those will be paying people a salary, including yourself, but the other will be the cost of your space. So therefore, whether it's renting a stall, owning a pitch, you need to make sure that you're getting your return on that investment, not only for the pitch, but also for buying the product, your investment in stock. So the key thing is to understand, how do we decide to allocate our space to the products we sell, and also understand which of the products deserve to have the most space. And again, there's a simple process to go through here. You'll know what you stock, you'll know what you sell, and whilst we often get, when we ask businesses, oh, what sells most, they'll just say, oh, everything sells well. It's very rarely is it the case that everything sells well. There'll be, at certain times of the year, certain products will peak. Whether it's, if you're in the jewelry business, it peaks late before Christmas. If you're in the chocolate business, then you've got peaks at Easter, you've got peaks at Christmas, other seasonal days. If you're in the fashion business, depending on whether you're a knitwear or a casual wear, your peaks will either be winter or summer. So all sorts of businesses have a peak. But the key thing is to understand what is it amongst your product range that generates the most sales, and typically the product categories that generate the most sales are the product categories that should have the most amount of space on your stall. If you're a fruit and veg guy and it's 75% fruit, 25% vegetables, then don't allocate your space in the reverse order. Allocate the space in accord with the sales ratio that you should be generating or you expect to generate. I'll add in one further factor, of course, is that the seasonality throughout the year changes, so therefore your space allocation should be changing throughout the year, just as much as the seasonal sales will. Many years ago, going back to when I was a proper shopkeeper, I worked for a variety store, and for 11 months of the year, we had a toy department which had 0.5% of the selling space, and in December that toy department ended up having 10% of the selling space. So a 20-fold increase in the sales space for toys. Obviously, why? So other departments will need to flex downwards accordingly, and it's the same even on a market stall. You still need to think about how you allocate that space to those particular products and product categories, factoring in when they have seasonal peaks. So again, not an exercise for now, but an exercise for another day. Think about your own stalls, list the main product categories that you have, think about when those product categories have seasonal peaks, and start to allocate your space accordingly. And this is in a mythical layout, in a hypothetical layout, apologies, of how you allocate the space across your store. And then you can start to, then the next thing is, once you've got those hypothetical percentages, you can then start to say, well, I've got so many linear feet, or I've got this square footage on my store, or I've got so many shelves or so many baskets. And then you can start to allocate the baskets in accordance to the space and the forecast sales for those product areas, which is probably all the things that are covered on this page of the presentation. So what sells best? What's in season? There is another aspect. What are the product categories that you want to promote? What are the product categories that you want to feature? And we'll come on to promotions later. And the other thing is, what product categories link together? If you're in the fashion and you are featuring shirts, then should you be selling ties? If you're into phones and you're featuring cases, should you also be featuring chargers, and so on and so forth? It's about those linked categories and how they build together to maximize the use of your space that you have on the stall. Having thought about where you want to put the best-selling areas, you then need to probably start to think about the layout of the stall and actually which bits of the stall, which parts of the stall are the ones that are most important in generating the sales. So at this point, this is where you need to take a step back and have a look at the stall and have a look at the what sort of configuration you've got. If you're a flat stall that faces onto a walkway, which direction do customers approach your stall? If they come from the left, then it's going to be the left front corner that will be the first thing they see. But if you've got a recessed counter and you sell over a sort of a kiosk style of stall where you're serving from behind the counter, not only will it be the front left corner, but it might actually be the right hand side of your stall on the wall that faces the customers as they approach your stall. The other often underutilized space, probably most underutilized space, not only in stores but in shops, is the area immediately behind the service point. In other words, where you stand and serve the customer, where you stand and interact with the customer, the wall directly behind you is probably the most viewed piece of wall on your stall. So again, it's really important to think about how do you use the wall that's behind you over your shoulder. Is it something that you can actually have? You can have product information. Is it somewhere where you can have a second display of your key selling lines? Is it somewhere where you can have a list of the services you provide? Is it somewhere you can feature your promotions? But that wall behind you is often referred to as the 100% customer contact wall. So not only the front counter, not only the side returns of the stall as people are walking to and from, but the area directly behind you will be a key selling area. Now, it goes without saying that how you display your product will affect, not only will affect its sales, but also it will affect the price you can charge. Sometimes it's actually all too easily to under display a product, and you can quite easily make a £5 product look as though it's worth £2.50, or indeed you can make a £2.50 product look as though it's worth £5 just by the attention to detail and the presentation. For a simple analogy, look at a classic fruit and veg stall where the product has a strong visual presentation, has a really good flash, it's nicely color blocked, and it's color blocked by product category, type. Care and attention is given to displaying, cleaning, polishing up the apples at the front and the rest of the product area. So you can have that type of stall, or you can have it where it's just literally tipped out from a carton. And the stall that's got the strong attention to detail, well presented, will be able to charge a greater product per pound for any item compared to the stall that's where it's just displayed haphazard. Again, typically products that are just displayed in cardboard boxes on the floor are always going to look and feel low price, cheap, whereas products that are displayed on shelves, on a wall unit, on a fixture, tend to have more value. So again, think about, are you presenting your product so that it shows it to its maximum value? Because one thing's for sure, if you display something and you're trying to sell it for a £5, but it looks like it's worth £2.50, you're not going to sell that many. Sell something that's priced at £2.50 and you make it look like a £5, you're going to sell a lot of them. This page really is just an example from a handout from the training courses, and there's no way that we could go through it in huge detail now, but it's a simple thing to download this page after the webinar, download the handouts from the Go Trade, and start to use them on your own store, and be brutally honest. You know, is it easy for people to see what you sell? Does your display show what you sell? Does it demonstrate the clear range? Have you got things created in strong blocks? Are you using the color of the product to demonstrate, to create clear visual blocks? Are you using the size? Is it the end use? There are all sorts of ways that you can create strong blocks so the product will stand out. Have you filled, are all the shelves full, or are you doing that famous thing, waiting for a delivery? One thing is for sure, that if you've got empty space, it won't generate any turnover. As I said to one florist and garden retailer recently, who had some empty space, and said it was waiting for a delivery. I said, well, you're not really in the business of not selling, and all that space is when you're in the business of not selling. Do we look cluttered, or do we look impactful? And quite often it can be a fine line between the two. You know, too much product on a shelf, too much product in the store where people can't see that classic wood for the trees, and it will put people off. You know, increasingly customers are time poor, and they want easy, quick solutions. So if it's looking too cluttered, if it looks too difficult, if it doesn't look easy to use, then they're highly likely that more people, certainly the temptation customers, will pass you by. You might retain your regulars, but you'll lose the temptation customers. Have you got all of your all of the same products in the same category linked together? Again, another common thing that we see in lots of businesses is where they have a small display. We work for a photographers and photo gallery and print suppliers, and in one of their stores they had a little mini display of a particular type of frame, and we just stood there and watched customers come in who went, oh, they haven't got many of those simple frames, I'll go somewhere else. Whereas on the reverse of this fixture was a whole further selection of these other very simple, basic, cheap frames. And so just because the customer couldn't see the whole story in one go, they thought that there wasn't much of a choice, not much of a selection. I've just been given a reminder from Chris. Thank you very much, Chris, to say that all of the materials are available in the members area from NMTF under the expert advice and guidance section. So yes, do make sure that after the webinar you get along to the website and start to download some of the handouts and the materials. And certainly NMTF 400 and NMTF First are both available as modules and by particular topics as well. Just moving on through this quick checklist, it should be a quick one. One of the key things about is that we talk about here is that where we said, are you using color, size, texture, time of day? Time of day is, for the food, cafe, coffee shop operators, again, are you using that time of day, and have you changed your presentation? Have you changed that information to demonstrate that you have a good choice for all the particular day parts? And then we've talked about the grouping and the clustering. I think the other thing is, other thing to be aware of is making sure that you've got the linked products displayed, so that not only are people buying a core product, but they're buying the add-on products that go with it. So, for example, we worked many years ago for a sandwich trader, a sandwich retailer in one of the big markets up in the northeast. And the way that we helped that trader increase their transaction, I think they increased their average transaction value by about 73 pence, which may sound a small increase, but if you're serving 500 people a week, 500 times 73 pence certainly made a reasonable difference to the weekly takings. So we said, look, the key thing in this particular case is it's a sandwich business, made to order sandwiches. And we said, so when you are handing over the sandwich to the customer and they're paying you for it, you need to make sure that they can see all of the linked sales opportunities, almost like a halo around the person handing over handing over the sandwiches, so that they can see drinks, they can see coffees, teas, they can see chocolate, they can see all of the linked items that people will buy with that sandwich. Now, not everybody will buy a further item, but if 1 in every 3 buys something, then that will make a big difference to the weekly sales. Right, moving away from creating impact in the store, moving away from using the space, but onto a key aspect of any retail business, and therefore any market trading business, is to just have a think about the customer service that you deliver, and also the customer service and how important it is to your business. And again, as with making it easy, our start point is to think about who gives good customer service, which businesses give good customer service, what do they do to provide good customer service. And those 2 questions alone, in many training courses, and we've used those questions not only with training courses as in Go Trade and with market traders, but we use them with all different types of businesses. And it's just trying to identify what's the right sort of business, what's the right sort of customer service that suits your particular business. But take a step back. Who is it out there that gives good customer service, and what do they do? And again, sometimes if you sort of ask to define good customer service, and people will say, oh, it's about having staff there that can speak to customers, it's about having staff to be able to talk to customers, it's about having staff to be able to help them make additional choices. But actually, many businesses who are described as offering good customer service don't have staff there for talking, don't have staff there for informing. Many of them just make sure that they've got the right product on the right shelf at the right time at the right price. We've had, it never ceases to amaze me which businesses get badged up as offering good customer service. Over the years, we've had people as diverse as Boots, we've had people as diverse as McDonald's, we've had people say that banks give good customer service, through to John Lewis, through to the fishmonger in the market. But actually, when you think about it, all of those businesses give a very different type of customer service. So simply having people there to speak isn't the only element of good customer service. In terms of further question is why should you give good customer service? What are the benefits of good customer service? Well, we can go on and on, but we've just identified a few. Good customer service means that you'll get lots of repeat customers. They'll come back to you. Even better than that, in today's world, not only do they talk to their friends, but they'll even post messages about the service they've got. They'll follow you on social media. They'll use their social media to promote your business. And so not only will good customers come back to you time and time again, and they'll come back to you, and they'll often even forgive a little bit of poor service, and they might forgive that you're out of stock. They might forgive all sorts of things. But actually, fundamentally, if you give good service, they'll come back to you time and time again. But the key thing of this exercise that we talk about when we think about what other businesses, key thing that we've identified is that in many instances there is either one or two people on a stall, and at peak time, if you've got 5, 8, 10 people waiting to be served or trying to buy things, you're only going to pay. They're only going to pay. You're only going to be able to serve them one or two of them. So there'll be a whole bunch that will either self-serve, there'll be a whole bunch that will select the products themselves, and then, so you won't have that time to speak to them individually. So therefore, the physical environment, the stall has to provide a good service. So in the same way as we had with a previous sort of handout, here's a handout to take and use at your own stall, in your own time. And the only thing that I would say is that if anything that scores less than 4, when you're being brutally honest in marking your own score, or actually anything that scores 4 or less, let's not just make it less than 4, means that there's something that you can improve on. Anything that scores 3 or less means it's something you need to improve on, and if it's 2 or less, then you really need to improve on it. Another key area, vitally important for traders, for any business, is about having good promotions. Now, the first thing I want to say here is that a promotion is not just about offering a discount. A promotion doesn't have to be 10% off, 15% off, 20% off, 50% off. It doesn't have to be buy one, get one free, buy one, get one half price, or 3 for 2. A promotion doesn't have to involve you as a trader, as a business, giving away hard-earned margin or profitability. In the same way as we've done a number of times, take a step outside of your business. Who is good at promotions? What businesses are good at delivering promotions? And again, what do they do to deliver those promotions? Very simple. Just, whether it's the food stores are good at delivering promotions. They deliver multiple promotions, lots of promotions at the same time. Whether it's, again, go back to the fast food people, they have very good promotions. Whether it's phone retailers, whether it's the fashion retailers, promotions are, there are some key things that businesses do in terms of delivering promotions. One of those is that they repeat the same message a number of times. One of the key things, if you take Boots, if Boots are doing 3 for 2, because it's one of their favourite promotions, if they're promoting 3 for 2 in the local paper or on national press or on social media or on websites, they'll have 3 for 2. When you approach Boots, the one thing you'll see in their windows will be 3 for 2. When you go walk into the store, they'll have a selection of 3 for 2 products on a promotion. When you get to the hair care department, there'll be the 3 for 2. Whatever's on 3 for 2 in the hair care will stand out. And even when you get to the till point, the member of staff will remind you that you've got something 3 for 2. So there are the classic 5 steps, the 5 areas, they keep making the same message. So for traders, where you've got activity on social media, if you're promoting something that's new, doesn't have to be a discount, if it's new, or if it's in season, or if it's just arrived, or you've got a special buy, if you're promoting that on your social media, then you need to make sure that it's the thing that stands out as people approach the store. You need to make sure that in terms of whatever department or whatever product category it belongs to, that it stands out there, and maybe even you can be talking about it, or as we've seen in some stalls, if you've got a special promotion, wear a badge on your apron, wear a badge on your sweatshirt, on your fleece. Have a badge. They're very easy, very cheap to produce. Put that badge that is, it can even be ask me about X, whatever the promotion is. And that way, you're getting those multiple chances to promote that business. My favorite promotion ever, which we saw when we were delivering a training course, was a food business, a hot food business on a market stall, where 3 members of staff serving food, very busy, very popular Asian cuisine. And then when every time a member of staff turned round to go and get something from the back of the stall, on the back of the T-shirts that the staff were wearing, it said, "We do delivery, we do outside catering." So each member of staff had a message on the back there, all to do with other services that they provide. So the key thing, I think, in terms of thinking about promotions, is that there are lots of things that can be a promotion. There are lots of things. There are lots of. It's not just about prices. It can be, something that's new. It can be something that's in season. It can be a new exclusive for you. It can be something that you've got lots of stock of. But when you're going to deliver those promotions, they have to be done in the right way. They need to be professional. Again, it needs to support the price point. It needs to support the. Needs to be tie in with the season. It needs to tie in with the seasonality of the product offer. And there are a number of given seasonal activities throughout the year, and it always pays to be in tune with those seasonal promotions. So when it's sale time, have a sale. Don't have people walking past your store going, "Oh, they haven't got a sale, so I'm not going to go there," because these customers are thinking sale. When it's summer, make sure you've got a summer promotion. When it's back to school, have something that's a back to school promotion, and so on. In terms of, how is it, again, an exercise to think about when you're standing in front of your store. How do you currently promote? What promotions have you got? What are you wanting to promote at the moment? What do you think you have on promotion? 3 weeks ago, I went to a fairly large garden centre retailer, and I was doing a sort of a critique of this garden centre. I was there for a couple of hours, and I'd written down 4 times, where are the promotions? What's on promotion? What do they want me to buy? What are the things they're trying to sell me? And I couldn't see them. I couldn't see these promotions. And in the end, when I was actually having a sit-down discussion with the owner of this business, I said, you don't have any promotions. Why don't you do promotions? He said, "Oh no, we have promotions." He then proceeded to take me to 3 parts of this garden centre that I'd not visited and show me the 3 promotions. And I said, well, there's no point putting them promotions in areas where people aren't going to see them. So what are your promotions? Can they be seen? What are you doing to promote them? What are you doing to make them stand out? And in today's world, if you've got a promotion and you're not featuring it on your social media, your website, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, if you're not listing them there, then you're almost missing one huge market sector for promoting your business. So in terms of promotional tools, I won't say the list is endless, but there are lots of things that you can do. So as we said, advertising in never mind national, local media, but social media, definitely. Low cost, easy to do, far-reaching. Have you got posters on the stall? Are you featuring them? Are you shouting about them? Have you got badges on? Are the signs in the right place? Are they with the product? Can you see them? Don't do that. A few years ago, when we were doing a few market visits, I went into one particular market shop stall, bigger than a stall, more permanent than a stall, but a market kiosk unit. I won't say what it was, and I'm quite tall. The trader was quite tall, and he said, "What do you think of my promotion?" I looked him in the eye. I looked over his shoulder. I looked on the counter. I said, "Well, I can't see it. I can't see your promotion." He then proceeded to look up, which made me look up, and about 3 feet above his head was a rather large poster that listed the details of his promotion. Needless to say, I then told him that whilst it was a great promotion, he was wasting his time, because nobody really looks that far up in the air when you've got nice products in front of you to look at. So the signage and the graphics need to work. The products need to stand out, be noticeable, whether it's the display, whether it's the grouping. If you're a food catering operator, Can you give samples? Can you taste it? And so on and so on. There's a huge variety of different tools to help you implement the promotion effectively. The key thing is to have a clear plan and to make sure that it's nice and clear for the customer, as in, because if you don't, then there's the classic, when it goes wrong, and it can go wrong in a big way. Having too many promotions or having too much promotional literature, the stall can look cluttered. We talked earlier about the benefit of having a tidy stall to a cluttered stall. If everything's on promotion, then nothing's on promotion. Because nothing will stand out. And the same that if everything's new or if everything's special, then nothing's going to stand out. So there's a fine line. There's not a fine line. There's a big chasm between effective delivery of promotions and fundamentally promotions fall into two camps. You're either promoting the products that you believe customers most want to buy, or you're promoting the products that you most want to sell. And ideally, if you can do both, then you're ticking all the boxes. So it's make sure that you're featuring things so hence it comes back to the seasonality of products that, when it's snowing, that we can sell snowshoes. When it's raining, we put umbrellas towards the front of the stall. And, very, very simple, basic rules. If we're in the luggage business, then if it's holiday season, we want to make sure we've got the right type of product. We're not necessarily featuring handbags, but we might as well take the time to feature holdalls and suitcases, etc. One last area to cover in this sort of whiz through before we run out of time, and we've touched on this already, but using signage, probably one of the consistent weak areas that we see from lots and lots of traders and lots of small businesses. The wrong sign in the wrong place is just filling space. The right sign, done well, delivered well, will help you sell a product. It becomes that secret salesperson. And the good news is that once you've printed the sign, you don't have to pay that salesperson any further money. So signage needs to either help tell the customer some information very quickly, don't write a book, don't have too many words, keep it short and sharp and focused, don't have too many signs and they become wallpaper. And when wallpaper isn't there to stand out, wallpaper is there to be a backdrop, and if all of your signs become wallpaper, then nothing is standing out. Ideally, one or two pictures on a sign and anything up to 10 words. Beyond that, your customer won't read it. They've got very little time. If they're not going to get that information and receive that information really quickly, then you're wasting the time and effort in creating the sign. And fundamentally, if the sign doesn't help you to sell a product or sell a service, then don't use it. Don't give it space on your stall. There are times when you can have community benefit signs, but actually they go further down the list of priority after you delivering and using your own signs. Some simple do's and don'ts. I think we've probably covered most of these. Make sure the sign is by the product. Don't have the sign don't have the product at the front of the stall and then put the sign somewhere else. The sign has to be with the right product. Only use signs that are relevant to your business, your product, your stall. If you're using signs outside, they need to be weather resistant, weatherproof. If signs are tatty and unloved and ripped and a bit shabby, then that will mean that your products will also look a bit shabby, a bit unloved, a bit ripped and a bit tatty, and you're not going to be able to sell them for a decent price. Don't have signs with last winter's promotion. Don't have signs with last summer's promotion. Just make sure they're all up to date. And if you have the benefit of windows in your stall or in your kiosk, then it's classic eye level, bi level to help with that. Signs too far down, too low down, or as I said, signs too high up are not going to help you generate those sales. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I hope that's been a little bit helpful. As I said, it's a fairly quick whiz through in just over half an hour. Some of the key topics that are covered in the GoTrade training material. There are also some of the key topics that are in both NMTF 400 and NMTF First. And the details to access those, well, if you go to NMTF website, that will very simply lead you through to where all of that material can be downloaded and accessed. And we wish you good trading and increased sales. Thank you very much for your time.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Mike. Really quick whistle stop, as I mentioned at the beginning, of a longer 3-hour training session that's provided face-to-face. So really just a couple of things from me to sum up at the end. First of all, thanks very much for tuning in. We have recorded this session and I've been told by Chris at NMTF that it will be available on the NMTF website, so I just need to download it and send it over to him so he can do that. It'll also be going on the GoTrade website, as I mentioned at the start, which is gotrade-market.eu. And all the course materials plus this webinar are available on the NMTF website via members area. Finally, just to say that the GoTrade team will be at the NMTF conference, which is taking place on the 27th of April in Blackpool at the Imperial Hotel. So I can see Mike whizzing back through the presentation now. If you haven't booked already, then bookings need to be made by March the 16th. It's £95 for members, which includes the conference, the lunch and the President's dinner. So really good value. I'd encourage you all to come along. As I say, the GoTrade folks will be there and we'll have a stand there. So you can come and talk to us about anything to do with the project, how you can get involved, how you can access the training and the various opportunities that there are available. So thank you all very much for tuning in. And we hope that you've enjoyed the session. I will send out the link afterwards to everybody that's attended, and I'm sure that we'll send something out directly from NMTF to let people know that this recording is available on the system and on the website. So thanks very much. Thanks, Mike, for doing the presentation, and do sign up for the additional training face-to-face if you can. Thank you very much.